And the tools, what I'm calling the timeless tools of critical thinking, enable you to do that. These are not my tools. I didn't invent them. I simply wrote them down. I didn't come up with the idea of assumptions, nor anything else within this, quote, model. Information is not Paul's term. I don't own it. Neither do I own concept, implication, perspective, interpretation, inference. These are all ordinary language, intellectual words. They come from what I call the critical analytic vocabulary of the English language. And there's a similar, if not identical, critical analytic vocabulary in French, in Spanish, in Greek, in Japanese, in Chinese, so that as various people translate these concepts into their own language, we have yet to hear from a translator who says, no such words in Japanese, sorry. No such concepts in Swahili, sorry. The fact of the matter is, every culture, if it be human, if it has a language, must deal with these structures because they're using them. And they're using them because they can't not use them. You can't not use information. You can't say, I'm going to shut off all channels of information. I will bring in no more information. Or I'll only bring in truthful information. No more flawed information shall enter my mind. No, we need our critical faculties to take a good, close look at the information sources that are driving our conclusions, that have prominence in our thought, and determine for ourselves to what extent are those information sources dependable? Are they biased in some way? What information sources are we ignoring? Are they relevant to our life? Do we need to think about them? What perspectives do we use in thinking about ourselves? Usually, Americans use an American perspective. Japanese use a Japanese perspective. French people use a French perspective. And each of them think of that as the truth. This is normal to being what we are. Fallible, finite, human creatures. Creatures who can think by nature, but not thinkers who can think by nature critically. 75 million years ago, hominid wandered the plains of Africa. Hominid, in the beginning, was not man thinking, was not human thinking. It was only millions of years of evolution that led to Homo sapiens. Man, human, thinking man, thinking human. Now, how many years will it take to move from Homo sapiens to Homo criticus sapiens? The critical thinking animal. We are now in the dark ages of critical thought. There is no critical society in the world. Every society indoctrinates. Every society puts blinders on their citizens. Every society takes a slant and says this is the way to look at things. Every society's newspapers privilege its own point of view and manipulate the news to show that whoever is their enemy, they're bad, and whoever is their friend, they're good. These simplistic modes of thinking drive human life as human life is presently structured. Each society needs to bring more and more critical thinking into the schooling that they deliver, so that children all over the world can learn how to take a purpose and formulate questions that make sense given that purpose, to test the questions for their clarity, for their precision, for their relevance to the agenda. Every child needs to be taught how to recognize when they're making assumptions, so they can check their assumptions. Every person in the world needs to be able to think not only within their culture's point of view, but to get out of the box and think within the culture of other peoples, so that we can talk across culture and not only talk exclusively to ourselves or talk to others privileging our point of view, so that in that case we assume that when I talk to you and you agree with me, I'm happy that you see the truth. And then when you disagree with me, I feel sorry that you have been benighted and denied the truth, which I have. If you follow my line of thought, then you will be persuaded, as I'm persuaded, that there is no critical society in existence now. There is no society for which critical thinking is a social value, but every society demands that it is fostering critical thinking. There is no society which promulgates the view, we teach narrow thinking to our citizens. We manipulate them into ideological thought, which puts them at a disadvantage unless they're a member of the elite few who govern the society. We're a class-oriented, racist kind of people who enjoy exploiting others and utilizing our power to gain what we can by force, power which we cannot gain through reason because our cause is not just. No. Societies do not think this way. Or rather, they do think this way, but don't give voice to it. Suppress it, keep it quiet, pay off the people who need to be paid off in order to keep the agenda rolling.